I'm still getting to know this area. Well, I've been out here about an hour. I think 3 different vehicle loads of people wearing camouflage in their trucks are slowly, stealthily driving along the road, trying to shoot a deer. Man, it's frustrating to watch for me. Oh well. Here comes another one behind me. Holy shit. Oh my God. It just frustrates me sometimes, you know, when I watch people, capable people, who can walk and hike. And I've seen 3 truckloads of young people, very capable of walking up a hill or in the forest, slowly driving along a logging road, looking at this cut right here. 3 in less than an hour. And then as I have the camera set up here, a guy on a quad comes sneaking up behind me in stealth mode. Now this is why it frustrates me. It frustrates me because right now is prime time. There might be an hour of seeing light left. And the only way you're going to be successful in a place like this, in a big logged off bowl like that, is if you park your truck back on the main line at least 1 kilometer and slowly walk up into that bowl stealthily with the wind in your face, conceal your movement, and hunt it properly. Maybe I just need some more sleep, I don't know. But it just drives me nuts when I see people absolutely wasting their time in educating. I mean, the game animals here are so educated to stay away from the roads, it's not even funny. I'll guarantee you, nothing is coming out into this Christmas tree patch until after dark. Not a chance in hell. The only way you can successfully hunt here is if you get out of your truck in the dark, climb to the top of that mountain, get into those peaks in that mature timber, be there for first light, and then hunt it properly. Now that I'm seeing what I'm seeing, I'll guarantee you, if I did that, I'll find a mature buck up top there in probably 2 days, max, maybe 3, and harvest it if I was inclined. Anyway, listen to me babble. People. Driving around with camo on. Okay, listen to this. Let's get back into sharing people's stuff. Hopefully, less than 10 road hunters come up behind me as I'm reading this in the next handful of minutes. 2 experiences, 1 canyon. Hello, Steve. My name is Cole Beltramo. I live in the central coast of California. My dad introduced me to fishing and camping before I was out of diapers. I love the woods and ocean deeply and spend as much time as possible out on my boat and exploring the national forest near my home. After my dad passed, I started to teach myself how to hunt. This is how I discovered you and your amazing hunting and fishing stories. Then the Bigfoot/Sasquatch thing took off, and here we are. My experience did not negatively affect me in any way. I'm not afraid of going into the woods alone, but I thought it might help other people with their own fears. I'm 33 now, and my first experience happened when I was 12. My dad, younger sister, and I went camping in the Los Padre National Forest in Santa Barbara County, near a campground. We had been there a couple times before, and usually there were other campers, but this time we had it to ourselves. There's a small creek that runs through the canyon. The morning after our first night there, I was dreaming that I was floating across the ground toward the creek. I could feel the ground under my sleeping bag moving slowly from my feet to my head. Everything was quiet. Then, like an alarm clock, all the morning birds turned on and it was light out. I could hear my dad snoring, but it was at a distance. I shouted, "Dad, where are you?" The snoring stopped. I shouted again, "Dad, where are you?" He replied, "I'm in the tent, where are you?" I slowly poked my head out of the sleeping bag to see the tent about 30 yards away from me. I was on the ground outside. The campground was pretty flat. No way I slid or rolled away from the tent on my own. Even at that age, I knew a black bear cougar would have just bit my neck and taken me away. It wasn't until the next year I really knew what it must have been. That is creepy as hell. My dad parked his old VW bus at near a campground. This time we planned on backpacking up the canyon a few miles to a different camp. We made the camp by mid-afternoon, made dinner by the campfire, and hung our food up in a tree. Our tent was under an oak tree with the window facing the west side of the canyon. We could see through the window the silhouette of a canyon ridge underneath the silhouette of the oak tree. A small gap of sky and stars. My sister fell asleep first, and after talking with my dad for a while, I dozed off as well. I woke up to my dad's hand on my chest and him softly asking me to wake up. He whispered, "There's something outside the tent. Can you hear it breathing?" I could clearly hear something outside breathing slowly, big deep breaths. He pointed to the window. The stars are gone. Something was blocking the silhouette of the sky we could see before. As I strained my eyes in the dark, I could see a figure standing there swaying side to side slowly. I asked my dad, what should we do? Do we turn on a flashlight and try to see it? We spoke softly about what it could be, a bear or a crazy person out in the woods at night being creepy. The whole time his hand is on my chest with my sleeping sister between us. After a while I fell back to sleep. In the morning I realized how big it must have been. My dad was not a tall man, maybe 5'10". His head didn't even reach the canyon ridge as I saw him through the window in the same place the figure was standing. This thing had to be 8 or 9 feet tall. As we made breakfast that morning, I tried to ask him, "What do you think it was last night?" But before I could finish, he shushed me. He looked at my sister as if to say, "We can talk about it later. I don't want to scare your sister." We never talked about it after that. Now that he's gone, I wished we would have. Thanks for all you do, Steve. I believe that your shared knowledge helped me get my first ever deer this year by backpacking on public land. That is awesome frickin' news. If all men could be like you, what a world it would be. Keep doing what you're doing, good sir. It is appreciated on many levels. Well, thank you for the kind words, man, Cole. And keep getting after those big bucks, all right, man? Keep getting after it. And that's the only way to do it, is how you're doing it. You gotta get in that timber, get the backpack on, get your sweat on, use your brain, use your skills, and hunt. That's a frickin' terrifying experience you just shared with everybody. I couldn't imagine what that would be like, waking up and realizing where you were and what had happened, and what probably did it. That's what you call messing with people, right? That's not too cool, as far as I'm concerned. That's not too cool that you do that to somebody's child. I don't give a shit who or where you are. You don't do that. Anyway, if you come across any knowledge, Cole, you make sure you share it with the rest of the world right away, alright, man? If you got anything that'll help anybody, get it into us. Be careful out there, and good luck hunting, man. I love hearing success stories of people in the outdoors. Actually, these are all emailed fairly recently. I'm kind of screwed up and started at the top of my list. I'm supposed to go back down to the bottom. These damn things are real. Washington State experiences. Resending this email from May 10th, 2021. Resent on December 3rd, 2021. Please share just my first name for business reasons. Hello, Steve. I bring to you multiple experiences I've had in Washington State. I'm only 24 years old, but have been in the mountains practically my whole life since 10 years old. Starting from the first experience near Chinook Pass, me and a friend, only 12 to 14 years old at the time, decided to go on a late night walk while our parents were enjoying themselves at a local cabin. We started walking down a pretty well-known road in the forest and heard a huge rock hit the water to our left. Immediately we ran in the opposite direction in fear. We summed it up to be a cougar or wild animal that was startled and knocked a rock off the cliff into the water. My friend and I recently connected and both vividly remember the exact same thing. Now moving forward to the age of 17 at a local pond near White Pass, Washington. Now moving forward to the age of 17 at a local pond near White Pass, Washington. One night a different buddy and I went up to a local pond. After just playing some guitar, it was a full moon, a sense of fear came over me and I hopped back in the car. The whole time my friend had been uneasy, sitting in the car shining a flashlight into the woods. After starting up the car and driving away, my AC was on full blast. We immediately got the most putrid smell, mixture of wet garbage, decaying carcass and musky wet dog. To this day I've never smelt the same smell, not even living in the city and walking downtown near dumpsters and landfills. Emotion took over after we left the local pond and I broke down in tears for unknown reason. In our lives, this was another event that we tossed under the rug and forgot for years until recently talking about it. Starting here is when I started a lot more solo expeditions in the state of Washington, into the Wenatchee National Forest, Gifford Pinchot, and Mount Rainier National Forest areas, only for the love of nature, campfires, and true inspiration. It wasn't until about 4 years later I heard a very low growl from close into the woods and summed it up to be a bear. It was almost as if I was warned to not move any closer by this wild animal. This growl was super low and came from high up in the tree line. Thinking back, it was dumb to stay there and keep hunting for morels, but I did. At the time I heard this growl, my dad was still back at the truck getting his backpack ready, so he never heard it. When these things happen, it's usually not until later you realize how bizarre and abnormal it was. The following year, in the month of May, on a solo camp trip, top of Clover Springs, I had a bizarre experience on the top of a mountain. It was around 11 p.m. to midnight when I heard a strange beeping sound. It sounded like a metal detector moving up and down the ridgeline to the west of my camp. After I went to bed, obviously spooked, the same noise came back to the east of my camp and seemed to be moving back and forth. At the time, I felt a presence of something outside of my custom truck bed camper. I just let it go to a nocturnal bird and got some rest. One thing I noticed is that the human mind will always try to put unexplained experiences into a box. For me, it was explaining these experiences away to wild animals and birds. I knew there were never any other people out where I was at because I intentionally camp away from other campers. Following this experience, I became more aware and observant of my surroundings while camping alone, and observed blue lights in the forest very late at night, dropping into the trees about a mile or two away. The strange light phenomenon is real as well. For the connection to Bigfoot, I haven't a clue. The more I ask experienced outdoor people, the more stories I hear. Recently, my no bullshit uncle finally opened up about his experiences from working radio towers. He had to snowmobile into very remote areas for work, sometimes late in the evening. He heard what sounded like a moose huffing, puffing, and growling. His coworker reminded him that there were no moose in that area and that he was shocked. Also, he heard loud tree knocks from multiple angles almost simultaneously and couldn't explain this either. One more experience from the Panhandle National Forest in Idaho near Coeur d'Alene. I went on a solo camping trip for one night with my truck. Around June 5th, 2021, I was just putting the last sticks in the fire. As soon as I hopped in the back of my truck to go to sleep, I heard a low-pitched growl and a branch break. It's hard to describe, but it went from high to low and sounds like mmm. After feeling every hair stand on my body, I felt an electric shock down my whole body. I feel as if I was being watched because over the 5 hours I was there, I heard nothing. But as soon as I hopped in the bed of the truck to sleep, it growled. Coincidence in timing? I don't think so. So I drove and got out of there. An absolutely terrifying experience indeed. The electrical chills stayed with me for 20 minutes after I left. Some claim spiritual connections are the cause for these strange events. Some say it's the very nature of human psychology to imagine human-like figures, or that it's just an unknown primate. The answers will be unknown for a long time, but the community you have built is a damn good start to getting the truth out. Governments definitely know more about these topics too, and we should be entitled to know the truth. Anyways, thanks for your channel and bringing light to the subject, sharing other people's encounters. Keep up the good work. I continue to adventure with no fear, but try to always go with a friend now. Regards, Chase. Okay, man, thanks for that. You already know, you've already probably dug enough. You already know all those areas you just mentioned are hot, absolute hotbeds for multiple experiences from frickin' dozens of people, right? Just make sure you go with your gut, man. Go with your gut. Take heed to those warnings that you pick up in the middle of those places, right? More gunshots in the distance, right at prime time. I guess they decided they don't want to have a good chance of getting anything, so let's shoot the guns instead. Man, listen to me go off. I must be grumpy or something. To each their own. Whatever makes you happy. Anyway. What else we got here? Let's see if I got enough light to get one more going. Hopefully not get hit by one of those stray bullets behind me. Sounds like a shotgun again. What do we got? I better get down to the bottom here where people are waiting. Wasn't really fair of me to do that, was it? So many emails, you guys. So many. Oh, here we go. This is screenshots of something. Weird. Hi, Steve. Well, I guess it would be your ex-backyard. Ha. This encounter happened in the upper Lillooet River Valley. I'm from the ski to sea to sky corridor, just a weekend warrior. Work hard, play hard, 4-inch lift in the truck, hunter/fisherman, hunting dog. I'm around your age and been doing this my whole life. Hunted on Texada for deer, Galliano for doves at the end of the island before it became a national park. Ducks in Tuatha, marshlands before it became a bird sanctuary. Interior for rainbows. Yes, a long time. I lived all over BC, hunting and fishing from Bella Coola to Tofino to the Rockies, you name it. You get the picture. Never had I ever considered the existence of these creatures. I was one of those guys that would have to see it to believe it. I even thought the Patterson-Gimlin film was a bunch of BS. Oh, hold on, this is all screenshots. I was at the top end, Upper Lillooet River Forest Service Road, right before that forest fire area, several years ago, after coming down the... Hold on, sorry you guys. After coming down the Hurley Pass. I lost my dog a few nights before chasing cottontails. He finally came back, soaking wet with a limp crazy dog. I was camped along the main Forest Service road, which is about 100 feet from the main river, estuaries, sandbars in between. Nighttime now, decided to do a flashlight sweep for eye shine like I do here and there. Campfire blaring, dog inside the truck sleeping. What I saw was 2 huge shining eyes staring back at me at about 40 feet behind a sandbar. It looked sideways, then back at me for about 10 seconds, then turned slowly sideways. Important note for later, then walked away. I got a glimpse of a face, no hair around the cheeks and nose, no snout, fire blaring. Hard to really see much else. I said, hey, what's going on? Nothing. Let me tell you, I grabbed my .22, like that would have done anything, and jumped in my truck. I thought it was probably a grizzly. But why did I say, hey, what's going on? My mind at the time didn't comprehend the almost human cheeks and nose, no snout, fire blaring. My mind at the time didn't comprehend the almost human-like features, but my instincts and my voice did. Nothing interesting happened all night. Actually, had a great sleep and woke up excited to go out and see some big grizzly tracks. I couldn't cross at my camp directly because the water is about 4 feet deep, so I walked upriver about 100 feet, where it was shallower, and came behind the sandbar, which had another shallow creek behind it. I looked at this sandbar, which I couldn't see above, and didn't see a damn thing. No tracks, none. I could see the water ripples from when the water was higher, pristine. I stepped up about a foot on the sandbar, sand tumbling down. I reached up, peeked over, and there was my camp. Perfect view. It was like it was watching me for entertainment or something. Like us watching the TV, I guess. I also felt like it was disappointed when I caught it. I didn't get any other vibes or threatening feelings. Whatever this thing was, it was standing in the creek, probably walking in the creek behind the sandbar. I'm 6 foot, so standing in the creek 1 foot lower, up the sandbar 1 foot, that's 2 feet, then to actually have its whole head above it, it would have been 9 feet tall. If it was a grizzly, it would have been on its hind legs, right? Then gone down when seen. This thing turned sideways and walked away. Not to mention, originally I thought it was a person. This creature was no threat to me. No threat to me or probably anyone else. Hope that helps. This is one of my encounters. At that time, I still never considered Sasquatch until my second encounter the next year. It was in the upper Eelho Valley. Again, right before a massive fire area, like mile 60, and up a spur mountain road. Looked at it on a map. It was the same forest fire. I'll leave that one for another time. Yes, it took a lot for my mind to comprehend. I've never told this or my other encounter to anyone, and never thought I would. They would only think I'm crazy. Take care and thank you for letting me get this off my freaking chest. Alright, man. I don't know why this is all screenshot. I don't know if you sent me the screenshots, but just so you guys see what it's up against. It's all screenshots, and then the story would end here, and then pick up again down here, and that's why it was a little awkward to read. Okay, you guys? Now, get back to what you saw, where you were. Straight above you is the old Hurley, the old Tankwell Road, I guess you might call it. It's the old switchbacks right behind where you camp it. And actually that road is where that arrow that I shot at a bear earlier in the spring, 6 months later, that arrow was sticking straight up out of the, at that time would have been 4 foot deep of snow when I was trapping wolves up there, and that arrow was sticking straight up and down out of the snow, only in the snow that deep, when I went up there on my snowmobile 6 months later. And that was probably 500 yards away from where I shot that arrow at that bear in the spring. Oh, anyways, so that's the only oddball thing that happened for me around that area. And then there was another young guy I've mentioned a few times now. His dad got screamed at. He said it sounded like the combination of a scream, a bark, and a gunshot at the top of that hill right there, okay? What else? Where I was trapping wolves and the two of them were blazing on trees above me on both sides of me was only about 6 or 7 kilometers farther up the road from where you were, on the right, in that long straightaway at the other end of the swamp. And that's where my stand was, okay? What else? 22 kilometer in the main line, that's where the Halliburton truck driver, water truck driver, saw one power walk across the road and straight up the log and clear cut, jumping over logs, running uphill, never stopped running once. So there you go, man. You're not alone, you're not crazy, and there are more sightings around that neighborhood, and especially up the Ilaho end, that it's just there's dozens and dozens and dozens. All right, man. So if you want to get that out one off your chest, please do it here. Well, wherever, just get it out. Tell somebody. If you want to share it here, share it here. If not, that's fine too. All right. But if it will help you, then get it out of you. Share it. You're not alone. And it's time everybody spoke openly about this shit, which they are, right? I mean, I think we're pushing 4 million views on this one channel right now in this past 3 weeks. And those are all people coming here on their own, right? So people want to know. Far more people are having these experiences than aren't, from what I'm seeing, what I'm learning, right? But anyway, sun's going down, time to go home. I'm going to set the alarm and get up early and go film those, try to see if I can get up real close and film those Roosevelt bull elk tomorrow morning. And then I still got to go back down to the bend in the river and take a picture of those willow bushes where I got the snapshot of that face, and triple check to make sure there isn't a dark stump in there that made it look like it, because all the leaves are gone now, right? But they've been closing the gate to get in there, so I'm gonna have to hike down there. Got to take my quad in tomorrow and find out what's wrong with the damn thing. Haven't even fully unpacked from being away hunting for a month. But anyway, I couldn't do that podcast last night. It's just too tired. Too many things on the go, and I promised that guy do that hunting podcast this evening, so I gotta get home and do that. And then we'll carry on, and we'll get back to making sure that every single voice is heard. And I got some ideas for everybody to do shortly too. But I'm running out of time here. I was going to share this evening, but I gotta get going. So, be safe, and I will be back, and everybody's gonna be heard. Got it all on video.